What's up, everybody? Jason Guyman here, and tonight I want to talk a little bit about how to grow your business in 2025, things that you can do that you will be able to get where you want to be at. And so I know sometimes we don't always think about what we need to do now in December, but this is things that we need to look at of things we can do for 2025 of the next year. Because if you started your business in 24, obviously with Christmas lights, most of you are pretty much done with Christmas lights. Pressure washing, most of you are done in pressure washing. Unless you're in the far south states, other than that, you are pretty much done with that. And so that is what I want to talk about, how we can go off of what we know to what we can grow. And so that is my purpose for tonight. Hopefully, I'm going to do it for pressure washing, Christmas lights, whatever your business is. But how can you grow your business? What do we look at this year versus last year? And so I actually got two books this week. I got two different books because I want to, as we are thinking about 2025, as we are planning, I always tell you to write down your goals, write down what do you want to do for 2025. But before you do that, I want to give you two books that you should read. And the first book is by Grant Cardone. It is 10X. 10X is better than, or the 10X rule. And so this is a great book that I highly recommend you to read, to listen to. It will make you think a lot different. Some of you might be, I got to 100,000, but I want to get to $200,000. And so we just double it versus going to, how do I get to 1 million? How do I go from 100,000 to 1 million? Because here's the goal of this book is if you don't make to the $1 million, but you get to $300,000, then obviously that is a win, better than just doubling of what you thought it was. And so this is definitely a great book. I highly recommend this book. It's a good book that kind of gets you on fire, starting to think about your goals, starting to think about your vision. What do you want to do? How do you want to grow your business? How big do you want to grow your business? How many employees you want? And so this is definitely a book I would highly recommend you to do. And then the second book, if you've read that book and you want another book, this is another great book. 10X is easier than 2X. And so we'll be talking about that tonight. 10X is easier than 2X by Dan Sullivan. This is another great book. Basically, it talks about if you want to double your business, doesn't mean you're just going to double the things you're doing right now and it's going to double. It probably won't. And so this is another book that 10X is easier than 2X. Again, it is by Dan Sullivan. It is another awesome book that I highly recommend, both of these books, for you to read before the end of the year so you can start thinking 10X, right? I want you to start thinking 10X. I want you to start growing 10X. I don't want you to be only growing a little bit. I want you to grow big. I want you to be successful. I want you to have time freedom. I want you to have all the things that you need to do to be able to grow your business. And so both of these books are great books. I highly recommend 10X is easier than 2X and the 10X by Grant Cardone. And so that is what I'm going to talk about tonight. We'll be talking about knowing our numbers, knowing what we did this year versus how we can take that information and how we can grow it for next year. I know we're getting to the season of Christmas lights. Christmas lights are over pretty much for a lot of people. There is some people that are still installing a few, but most of you are done. And so that is why I want to talk about this. I've already talked about takedown on Christmas lights. Tonight is more for pressure washing. I always try to do pressure washing on Sunday, Christmas lights on Wednesday, but usually during the season it will be kind of marketing on one or the other depending on what season it is. And so this is why I'm putting it both in there. So how's everybody doing tonight? This weekend was a great weekend for myself. My daughter is a soccer player. She found out that she tore her ACL a year ago. It's been right at a year ago. And so she got released to play soccer. They had a game on Saturday, but the coach is like, let's wait till we get a little bit more practice, which was probably a good idea. But that is an exciting thing. We got to go see our team play, and so that is a lot of fun. It's getting close to Christmas. Obviously, Christmas is only 10 days away, and so it is definitely things to start thinking about. I know sometimes people can get depressed this time of the year, so if don't just remember the things that you have and what you're able to do, and look how far you have come. I've been, one of my guys I coach, he's like, oh, Jason, I'm like, just look how far you've come. You've went from here to here. His goal was to do 100,000 this year. He did almost $200,000 in business, and so it is awesome to see people growing their business, people having success, and that is my goal for you guys, right? How can we get you successful and growing your business so that way you can grow your business? Because in the end, that's what it's all about. How to grow your business, how to get more time freedom, how to get more financial freedom and grow your business, whether it's Christmas lights, pressure washing, whatever business it is in, and that is awesome. So how has your all's weekend been? I'd love to hear it in the comments. What did you all do exciting this weekend? And what do you have for Christmas plans? I'd love to hear it in the comments. We got F-Bomb. I know I had seen something there. He's getting a surgery done, so pray for F-Bomb as he gets that. Hopefully it's something easy and simple, and you get get better from that. And that would be, we don't like when we got to do things like that. What's up? How are you doing, Mr. Caesar? Great seeing you on here tonight, coming in and learning and growing and taking the information and moving forward, right? Because that is the goal. How do we move forward? And it is to keep moving step by step and to keep growing your business, because that's the goal of this, right? A lot of times I've been seeing people, I know a couple people hit some big numbers this year in year 2, and it is awesome to see that of year 2 and hitting some big giant goals. And so when you set big goals, guess what happens? You hit those big goals. Spent time with my daughter and actually took the time off thanks to Christmas lights. That's awesome. Spending time with family is definitely a very important thing to do. I love getting to drive my kids around to their things because it's time that we get to spend together. And so just so you know, they grow up fast. And so just make sure that you're spending that time, which is awesome, Pat. Still installing lights this week in the snow. Just be careful. Don't fall off a roof. That can be a bad day for sure. So just be careful out there. All right. So let's start here. So the first thing off, I want you all to start writing down your goals for 2025. I want you to write them down, and I want you to 10x it, right? I want you to 10x your goals. Don't just think small. Don't be like, man, Jason, I did 50,000 this year. I want to do 75,000. How can I do that? Or, man, Jason, I did 100,000. How do I get to 150? I want you to think, if I did $100,000 this year, how do I get to $1 million? Right? Because if we can figure it out, we can work it out backwards. And if we get to 200,000, we didn't fail, right? We doubled what we thought. We went 10x and we only got to here. That is fine. But what I've seen here, even recently, I've seen a guy post that he's year 2 in Christmas lights and did $500,000. And I know other people in year 2 that's done $500,000 in Christmas lights. And some people are like, Jason, how do you do that? Well, the one that I know that did $500,000 is he spent a lot of money in marketing to get the leads to grow his business, right? Because that's what you got to do. It's not one of those things of, all right, this is what I always ask people. So if you only did $30,000 this year, I'm just throwing a number, you only did $30,000 in 2024, then I will ask the question, How much did you spend in marketing? And almost 9 times out of 10, they will always say $3,000 or $2,500. I bought a couple hundred signs and that was it. Or I did this. And I'm like, okay, so you only spent 5 to 10% of to get to that 30,000. Or if you hit $100,000 and I'll be like, and they wanted to get to $200,000, I'll be like, all right, what did you do for marketing? Well, I only spent $10,000. Well, $10,000 puts us at $100,000, right? And so this is how we got to think. So the guy that I know that spent to get to $500,000 in Christmas lights, I know he spent about $40,000 to $50,000 to get there, right? And so it's just easy math at the end of the day. Now, some of these guys that have been in business for a long time and they get all the referrals and they're growing their business, well, that's a different story. They're in a whole different stage of business. And I love those guys because they're like, well, I don't spend nothing in money and I just do referrals. Yeah, you've been in business for 10 years and guess what? You're probably only growing 5% or 10% at the end of it because you're not putting nothing back into the business. You are just taking everything out of the business. And if you've been in business for a long time, then that's fine to be able to do that. But if you want to grow your business, you want to get it to where you want it to go, especially in the new years. When you're in the little years of 1 to 5 years and you're wanting to get there, you got to invest in the money. Now, there's 2 ways you can invest in it. One, you can invest time. If you don't have money, you invest time. And so what do you mean by that, Jason? Well, you invest the time to do it, right? You're on Facebook, you're on LinkedIn, you're on all of these different platforms. I've talked to Benjamin, my buddy Benjamin Gregory, right? He has spent a lot of time on LinkedIn. He still spends a lot of time on LinkedIn. And he's going to be almost at $2 million in a pressure washing business. He's about $1.8 to $2 million in a pressure washing, and he just started doing Christmas lights this year, so he didn't do much in Christmas lights. But he spent very little money in marketing, but he spends hours a week in LinkedIn. And guess what happens when you do that? He's investing his time versus investing his money. And so you got to pick one. Everybody wants leads. Everybody wants it easy, but nobody wants to do the work. And if you want to get to 10X, it's like, okay, so if you put out 100 signs this year, let's say you did the $30,000, and let's say you put out 200 yard signs. What would happen to your business in 2025 if you 10x'd 200 yard signs? You put out 2,000 yard signs in 2025. What do you think would happen to your business? I would almost guarantee it's going to get a lot better. What if you went and you spent $300 in Facebook? What if you 10x that and spent $3,000? Or maybe you spent $10,000 in marketing this year. What would happen if you 10x that and put $100,000 in marketing in your Christmas light, pressure washing business, landscape business, whatever business you have? It's going to explode. Now, here's the thing about this, right? When you do this, you have to think 10x, because a lot of times we just like, oh, Jason, I'm going to go put out 100 yard signs. I'm going to go put out 1 post a day. Jason said if I did Facebook and I post it 1 time a day, it would work. No, you got to 10x it, right? You got to post 10 times a day. When you post 10 times a day, people are going to start seeing your stuff and you're going to start seeing the results of that, right? I can prove this. You can go to Bobby Duncan's Facebook page and he posts 8 to 10 times a day. And guess what? He's probably going to be real close to $500,000 this year with 0 money spent in marketing. Now, $0 spent in marketing, but he has a lot of time spent in marketing. Right? So you got to pick one. You either got to pick time or money. You got to pick one. And you can do both, right? And so these are things that you have to look at and you have to do to grow your business. So 10x in your business is definitely something that you have to think about. So So how do we get these numbers? Well, let's look at what we did this year in 2024. What did you do in 2024? How much did you spend in marketing a month? How much, what was your average ticket? What was your close rate, right? And so we can start looking at what we did to forecast what we can do, right? If we know that our average ticket for pressure washing is $1,100, then awesome. How do I get that to $1,200, $1,300? And now we can start looking at, okay, if I got more leads, guess what? This is going to calculate to more money in the end. So multiply your revenue targets by 10. So if you want to do $100,000, then put it at 10, times it by 10. We're at $1 million, right? If you want to do 10,000, that's what you got to look at by setting this here. But when you set massive goals, right? When we set these BHAG goals, guess what? We can start working at it, and you will be surprised of what it is. You know, another great book I highly recommend is Think and Grow Rich. And this goes right along with what I'm talking about. Think and Grow Rich. Because if you don't believe that you can do, or you don't have a vision, you don't have a vision board, I would highly recommend you to write a vision board. I have one up here somewhere. I don't know what I did with it, but write a vision board. What do you want to look like? What do you want to see? What, not just money either. Like, what's your health goals? What's your family goals? What are your goals in life? Write them down, put them on a piece of paper, and put it where you see it. Put it where you brush your teeth, where you see it every day. It's this book right here. You think about it, and you meditate on it, and you look at it, it's going to grow. And that's the awesome thing about growing a business. And so, you know, these are things that we can do to be able to do this, right? Make plans for your 10x customer base, right? You got 10x customer base. So one of the guys I coach, he's like, Jason, I spent a lot of money in marketing this year. I spent 20% in marketing. And he's like, and he was making it a negative thing. And I'm like, okay, so guess what you got? You got 1,000 people on your customer list. Just because they didn't buy last year doesn't mean they won't buy this year. So we're going to keep marketing to them, right? We're going to set up a follow-up problem, and we're going to 10x our follow-ups. We're not only going to send 2 or 3 follow-ups. Some of you don't even send 1 follow-up. So it's real easy to 10x 0, right? Or 1, you might barely send 1. That's the estimate out. And then you never follow up after that. So how do we 10x it? So if you've got 1 or 2 emails or texts or whatever, let's 10x it. So now that's going to put us at 10 or 12, right? Or maybe you're at 20, maybe you're at 10 emails and text over a whole year. Well, let's put it at 100. Well, Jason, that's a lot. Well, you should be touching that client. We know that if you want a client to be, it takes like on average anywhere from 10 to 13 touches. So most of you aren't even touching the customers that you have that would buy if you just touched them, right? If you just sent that email, if you just sent that text, and another text, and another email, and another text, and a phone call, and a text, and an email, and a phone call, right? We kind of keep touching these people. And guess what? Then we can put that 1,000 people into a Facebook ad and touch them a different way, right? We can touch them any which way we can touch them. And then we could put them in the Google ads, that whole list, and we can retarget them. And so all they see is me, right? They see my pressure washing business. They see your Christmas light business. And all they see is it. And guess what? They're going to be like, you know what? I do need that. And then you can send them a mailer, right? And so this is how we can touch them, and we 10x it, right? 10x is a great thing to do. I know sometimes it's really scary to do. It is so scary because we're like, well, is that too many emails? No. I like what Sam put in there before. You either buy or die. That's the 2 options. You buy from us or you go away. One of the 2. It's not, oh, well, I'm not going, they didn't buy from me. They told me no, or they told me I need to talk to my husband, but what did you follow up? We know that type S personalities will drag their feet forever. They can't make a decision to save their life. That's why we got to touch them 10 times. We know type C personalities. They can't make a decision because they don't have enough information. So we got to touch them 25 times, right? So we know that. We know that type C and type S personality makes up 80% of the people. So if you're not touching them and you're not following up and you're not 10X in your follow up, then that's why you're not growing your business. And so whether it's Christmas lights, pressure washing, I don't care what business it is in, you have to do this. Now, massive action, right? This isn't, oh, Jason, I'm gonna do one Facebook post a day, and that's way more than I did last year. You know, I did one post a week, so I'm going to 10X that. So that's going to get me to, 10 posts a week. So that's almost 2 days, 1.5 per day. No, do it per day, right? It takes massive action. You have to massive action. Whether it's in, hey, we're going to do Facebook, we're going to do LinkedIn, we're going to do, and here's the thing, Facebook, that means post 10 times a day. LinkedIn, you got to only post once. I know it's different, but you only post once. But in LinkedIn, you got to go comment on 10 different people's posts every day. And then that's going to draw engagement. And that's going to make you grow and get more. On, let's see, EDDM, we're going to send out thousands, not just 100,000. And this is how we're going to do this. So how do we know what's going to work? Because we have the numbers from this year. What worked this year? If you put out 100 yard signs and you made $30,000, well, let's put out 1,000 yard signs, right? Let's 10X that. Let's get that to where we want to be at. Maybe it's you knocking on doors. We talked about door knocking. Door knocking works really good for Christmas lights. Well, maybe we start 10Xing that. And that is why we want to be able to grow. This is a great question. Post what on Facebook? Post your life on Facebook. Don't just be like, I'm a pressure washing Christmas light business. No, go do different things with it. Hey, you know what? We're here at this store right here and we're shopping and, and do post and do different things. If, like I said, I told you one that you can follow. He does lives, he does posts, he's going around the different businesses and growing it that way. And so that's how you do it. Bobby Duncan, go check him out. You'll find him on Facebook. You'll see that he posts 8 to 10 times a day, and you can see what he's posting. It's not just about my business, right? Yes, my business is a lot about it, but I'm sharing different things and funny things and whatever I might do, dad jokes. And, P&P, I know that they do dad jokes, and they just have a good time, right? They show the, I can't think of his name, but he puts the green stuff on his head that he pulled out of the gutters and, the moss. And so it is just a way that you can have fun when you're growing your business. And that is how you're going to do this. So what else are some things that we can do? Again, I already hit on this one. 10X your follow-ups. I know most people don't follow up to save their life. How do I know that? Because I know, right? Most people don't even answer the phone. So how do you 10X answering the phone? You make sure that you're going to answer that phone no matter what. And no matter what's going to happen there. How do we get bigger referrals? How do we 10X our referrals? Well, maybe you need, right now, this is a great time to do this. We are in the winter months. We're in January, February, March, right? We know that in this area, you don't work. Other than January for takedown, that's all you've got around here. So guess what? Go network. Go get to the Chamber of Commerce's. Go find meetups of business owners. Go meet people. Go do donation type stuff. Go do charity stuff. Go dress up and do charities and do that kind of stuff. Go to the apartment association. Go to all of the things where you can meet people. And guess what happens when you meet people? They will give you work or know people that can use your services. And that is how it is. Now, when we go meet these people, we're not like, hey, I'm a pressure washer, I'm a Christmas light. No, go meet people. Be friendly. You don't have to try to sell your services all the time. It will come, I promise you. And if you are scared to death to do this, that's even more to do it. Get out of your comfort zone. Business is not easy. You have to get out of your comfort zone to grow your business. If you want to stay where you are and you want to be in your little bubble and not grow, then that is fine. But get out of your comfort zone if you want to grow. If it is hard, then you're growing. Right? If it is easy, you're not growing. It's not easy to do this stuff. I never said it was. I never say it will. You've got to sit there and grow your business. You have to think about the things. If it's hard, awesome. Go. You can do hard things. Did you know you can do hard things? And that is the great thing about growing a business. And so the bigger referral network you get, the truth is your network is your net worth, right? However big your network is probably going to be how big your net worth is. Next thing, how do we make our competitor proof our business, right? What services that you do that your competitors don't do? How do you do it better? And don't tell me I bulb the peak. Who gives two rats about bulbing it, right? What do you do that's different than your competitors? What do you do? How do you do it? Do you answer the phone? Did you know one thing that you can do that will make you different than your competitors is answer the phone, do the follow-up, right? Be a human. Those are the things that grow your business. Those are the things that will skyrocket your business. I promise you it will, because you don't have to be the most amazing Christmas light installers or the most pressure washer dude. They just want their stuff done. Are you selling on the thing? Or are you selling on emotion? Because did you know 90% of the people buy off of emotion and not the thing? Imagine that. So quit selling the thing and start selling the emotion. Pressure washing. Hey, you know what? Are you tired of telling your husband to go do something and he won't do it? Awesome. Then let's do it this way, right? And so that is definitely something that we can do. Create value. How do you value time is very valuable. So we sell time. That's all we do. There ain't nobody that can't hang Christmas lights. They can't go do Christmas or pressure washing. Anybody can do it. We are valuing their time and they're valuing their time. And that is what we need to sell on, not the other way around. And then here's another thing we can do in the wintertime is build systems, right? Everybody has systems, but a lot of your systems suck, right? You got systems, but it doesn't mean that they're working. And so systems are what we can do in the wintertime, right? Right now, in the wintertime, we can look at our system of follow-up. Let's work on follow-ups. How do we get more emails? How do we get more text? And if you do have a follow-up, now we can look at the data and say, all right, this email got us these jobs, right? Or this email only got opened 10%, where all of these emails got opened 30%. How do I change the headline? Because this email might be $1 million email, but the tagline sucks. And so if the tagline sucks and they don't open an email, it's a crappy email. So how can we start adjusting this? There is no we're one and done. We got to look at it. We got to see what can we do better, right? And then how do you plan for 10x jobs, right? We want a 10x. Do you have the systems in place to 10x your work? Can you get 10 jobs done in a day versus one job a day? How do you do that? Or maybe, instead of 10 jobs, maybe we 10x our price, right? So if you're only getting $1,000 a day, how do we get it to $10,000 a day? And it's easy to do it in Christmas lights. Pressure washing, it's a little bit harder, right? And so how do we look at that? How do we get to where we do? Here's another one, hiring for 10x growth, right? That means we got to hire. So how do you hire? Do you just pick whoever comes in, or do you have a system? Do you have a place where you can get different applications? I seen this in the group today, and it was a great thing. What system do you have them take a test to know if they can do the job, right? And you might say, well, that's dumb, Jason. Well, if you know their personality, let's say you do the DISC test, right? The DISC test. And they're a high D&I. Well, they're not going to be a technician. They're going to be a sales guy, right? And if they try to become a technician, they're probably going to suck at it because they're a sales guy. And the same way, if they're a C and an S, that's a sales guy, or that's a technician, not a sales guy. So if you're hiring the wrong people and you don't know what they are, then guess what? You're going to be stuck with people that probably ain't going to be the right fit for your business. And so you can do the 16 personality test. It's a free test. I would tell you tonight, go take the 16 personality test and see what you are and see how you are. And, that's another thing that you can do. And it's a great way that you can look at hiring people, right? How much equipment are you going to need? Are you going to need 1 truck, 3 trucks, 5 trucks? What are we going to need? Because when we want to train it, when we do this, you got to think about this. And here's the big one for it, right? Leadership. You need to better leadership skills, right? Because if you want to grow in 10x and you want to have employees, you got to be a great leader. Because if you're not a great leader, you're not going to find great followers. They're going to come and go because you don't know how to lead them. And that's the best thing to do. And this one here is the number one thing. You have to 10x your mindset. I always thought the mindset stuff is dumb. I always thought that's stupid. But as I've grown businesses, if you don't believe in yourself, if you don't have the mindset for it, you won't get there. And I know it sounds stupid. I promise you. The mindset to get you to 100,000 is a completely different mindset to get you to 500,000 or 1 million or 2 million, right? Because for me to get to 1 million, I thought I had to do it all, but I didn't. In fact, I didn't do a lot of it. And that's what kept me so long to get to 1 million, because it took me 3 years to get off that stupid truck. And it was one of the hardest things for me to do is to get off that truck. And I found out that we could hire people and they can do 80% of the job and we make more money that way. And I don't even have to work on that. Now, is there other things I did? Sure. I learned how to do marketing, because what I learned is marketing is key, right? It's not about the thing, it's how I market it. And so marketing is the key. And so what gets you through your mindset? How do you 10x your mindset? I get it, man. If you're poor, if you grew up poor, if you had people talking negative to you, those are all things that will creep up in your brain and say, I told you couldn't do that. You failed. You might have put a goal of 100,000. You only got to 60,000. And that voice in the head that when you were young saying you were stupid or you couldn't do it comes in your voice and says, I told you couldn't do that. But what you don't realize is how you learned and growed, right? Did you have failures? No, you didn't fail. You know what? There is no such thing as failure. It's called growing or learning, right? You either grow or learn. There is no such thing as failure. Failure is when you quit. That's when you fail. But there's no such thing as failure. You either learning it or you're growing. Because you know what? The best way you grow is by learning. I used to have a boss that said, if you're not screwing up, you're not learning. And he was right. And I didn't understand it back then. This was when I was 20s. And, I always thought, how does that make any sense? But I promise you, you will learn more when you screw up something than when you don't. One time I was working on heavy equipment back in the day. I was a firefighter. I wasn't a firefighter yet. I was working on heavy equipment, and I was started to work on fire trucks. And we had a telesquirt, which is a boom on top of a fire truck. So some of you firefighters may know what I'm talking about. And it had failed the leak test, so it was leaking down, and so it needed new seals. And so I unbolted this has a big boom underneath of it, and it has ladders that are tied onto the boom. So as it goes in and out, these ladders go in and out. So what I had to do is I took all the ladders and I slid them down, unhooked them from each section, so they're all sitting here. And I took the boom and I had it over to the side, and I was taking off the ladders and everything and unhooking it. Well, instead of just picking it up high enough to where I could get it back, I picked it way up high. Well, those ladders weren't on the boom no more. The next thing I know is they all fall off. That was about a $5,000 screw up. I learned that day. I thought I was fired because I had just started with this guy. I'd only been working there for about 3 or 4 months. And I was ready to go get my walking papers. I thought I was fired. Like, I really thought I was fired. And so I already had my tools ready to be packed up and gone. But he didn't. And I learned, right? I learned what not to do. And so we got him back together, and I learned how to fix my problem, right? I learned how to fix my own screw-ups. And so this is definitely something that you got to think about, how you can either learn or grow. So I love what David Hamill here too, because this is also about the 10X in your mindset shift. Surround yourself with people who are just killing it. You become who you hang out. Even here on Facebook, it is important to follow successful people. And, you know, you hear this a lot, and I see it a lot. The 5 people, I can look at you and tell you if you're going to be successful or not by the 5 people you hang around. And if you don't want to be around those 5 people, you need to find 5 new people that you become around. And, you know, it's one of those things that as you grow, you need to find more successful people. And it is very important that you think about it this way, because when you're in the room and you're the lowest on the totem pole, they will bring you up, right? You will come up just by being in that room. And this is definitely something that I learned. I'm actually going out to a training in February, then March. If y'all want to, it's a great one. It isn't anything to do with pressure washing or Christmas lights. It's social media marketing world. They'll be talking a lot of AI, but I have a lot of people in that room that I know personally that have helped me get to where I'm at today, right? I pay one guy quite a bit of money to be my AI that I've learned a bunch of my AI stuff from, right? And so he's going to be there. How I grew my membership, he's going to be there, right? And I know that I'll be able to sit down in a room, that I might even be able to sit down in a room with, some of you might know about Pat Flynn, right? Pat Flynn, I seen him a couple years ago. Well, one of my friends is a really good friends with Pat Flynn. Now, just me sitting in that room listening, I promise you, I will learn and I will grow. I will learn things that I never thought about it. I will think about things differently, and I will grow. And that is the importance of it. You know, this year, the reason why I talk about my pressure washing Christmas light trainings and stuff, and a lot of people are like, Jason, you're just trying to money grab. I promise you, when you get to go to a Christmas light training, and one of the top Christmas light installers is there, he's number 2 in the country, probably number 2 or number 3 in the country, and he's sitting in the same room asking questions, that right there is very invaluable. Or I have Bob Matthews that is in the room, and he does $1.5 million a year in commercial, $1.3 to $1.5 million in commercial. Guess what? Just in Christmas lights. Guess what? Just being in that room, getting to talk to him, going to eat dinner with him, going to eat lunch with him, going to eat breakfast with him, you learn a lot of things at these classes, right? And so that's why I always will invest in my own self, right? I will go to a training. It ain't always about the training. It's about the people you get to sit in the room with. I never forget 2 years ago, I went to a training, and it was high-level training. And we're sitting at the table, and this chick over here is talking, and she's like, yeah, this year we're hoping to be we're at 260 right now. We're hoping to be at about 310, 320. And I looked at her, and I'm like, a month? And she's like, yeah, a month. And I'm like, I'm sitting next to a multimillionaire sitting right here talking, and you would have never knew it. But she was giving so much value back and forth. And that's the awesome thing about doing this thing, right? That's why I tell you guys to go do things. I'm not, and don't just do pressure washing or Christmas light stuff. Go to other things and learn different skills and meet different people, because you never know, and I know a lot of times when you go to these things, you're scared to death to go eat dinner, or go put yourself in there in those rooms, and that will help you so much. Go meet people. That's a great place to meet people, to be able to keep you growing and moving forward. Maybe you need to shift from residential to commercial, right? We know commercial is going to get us a lot more jobs. We know that commercial will get us a lot more jobs. And so maybe we need to start thinking beyond that. Maybe we need to think beyond Christmas lights. How do we do permanent lights? How do we get through pressure washing season? How do we do this? And then build year-round revenue, right? Pressure washing, Christmas lights, whatever it might be. You might do Christmas lights. I seen somebody there today say, how do I make as much money doing Christmas light doing anything else? And really, Christmas light is probably the only thing that I know is just about as profitable as it is for the man hours and stuff that you got. And so them are things that you can think about to be able to grow your business. Mr. What's up? It's Dallas. We did $60,000 year two, 50% increase from year one. Hope is all well. We almost hit $250,000 between two businesses in year two combined. That's amazing, right? $250,000, $250,000 in between Christmas lights and pressure washing in the St. Louis area. And that is amazing. And so what I will say is you can do this. You can do it. I promise you can do it. Don't believe that you can't. Only reason why you can't is because you don't believe it. Now, is it going to be easy? No, it's not going to be easy. It's going to be hard. You're going to hit days that you wish you didn't do things, right? You're going to be at the point of, man, why am I really cut out for this? And you can do hard things, but it's not meant for everybody. I promise you, this is not meant for everybody. Pressure washing, Christmas light, business owner is not meant for everybody. You might be an amazing employee for somebody. Not everybody is meant to be. The reason why people fail in business, it's like 50% of people fail in the first 3 years. And so you got to remember that it's hard. Right? It's hard to do business, but you can, and that is the amazing thing that you can do. All right. If you guys got questions, I've got answers. Doesn't everyone take their lights down on January 1? Most people do. Get them start taking down. Getting a medical procedure checkup done tomorrow. I spent $15,000 in marketing. Christmas lights, I did that in pressure washing. I don't think Tim spent $40,000, more like $20,000 max. He spent quite a bit because he did. He said he'd spent $6,000 in pressure washing. You're probably right, closer to $20,000. Love this information. I'm going on my fifth year, but here's the thing about Tim too that a lot of people don't know. He actually owned a very successful gutter cleaning business, and so he's got a lot of contacts and a lot of knowledge there too. Again, your network is your net worth. I'm going on my 5th year in business and I'm still not known. It's all about how I can reach the next 1,000 people to get 50 customers. Any tips on how to post that many times a day with little work? Yeah, it's not just about posting on Facebook about your business. It's about your life. It's about your kids. And here's the thing. Find things, I know some people like you, everybody has different circles, right? So I have a soccer circle, all my daughter's soccer stuff. We go to church. That's a circle. I've got water rescue. That's another circle of friends, right? And so I'm going to post different things to hit on each one of those circles. And so that's going to help me get people to engage, and that will help me to keep growing. I'm always on some type of media looking for the next customer. I spend more time on media than I do working, but it's free marketing. I mean, as far as material, because I don't have a lot of photos. You don't have to have a lot of photos. You can do Facebook Lives. You can do photos. You can do things close to your area. You can do all kinds of things. if you're, I've always been doing free posting on social media. I am going to keep it up. Will it pay off? Who knows, but staying on it. It will pay off. Build your brand and it will pay off. Post what on Facebook 10 times where? I already hit on that one. Knowledge is power. I did an in-person estimate, and when I told them the price, he told me that he was more than expected in his budget, but he is still going to have me do the job because of my knowledge. Well, when I post, I feel like I don't have anything worth saying. What to post? All right. So, AI is your friend. If you don't have AI is your friend. Let's just put it that way. Now, I know that it ain't always the best thing and you can do different things, but AI is definitely something that you can do that will help you get post, right? And if you don't know what to post at all, then use AI. So, I will tell you how you can do this, and I'm going to even show you a little bit, maybe. So, this is ChatGPT. It does good. You got Claude is another one. It does good. Claude does better for writing. ChatGPT does better for this. And so you can be like, so what you want to do is tell it everything that you are, right? If you have all about your business information, everything in there, and then give it what you want. So a pressure washing Christmas light business, period. You are a professional social media manager doing Facebook, period. I need you to come up with 5 to 10 posts a day, not just about pressure washing and Christmas lights, period. Hit the enter button and it's going to give you start the stuff to do. Now, one of the things that I like to do is I like to do questions. Questions always gets people to answer questions, and so this is stuff that you can do. So here's a motivational post. Starting a pressure washing business is tough, but every great achievement starts with a single step. Keep pushing forward, right? That's what's one accomplishment this week that you're proud of. All we're trying to do is get engagement. Fun fact, first known use of Christmas lights, a friend of Thomas and Edison. So you can just see how we can do different things. Look at this. Big thanks to a local business charity for their amazing work in the community. We're proud. Again, it's not just about you. And then you can tag that community, and guess what? Those people are going to start seeing your things. Now, here's another thing about Facebook. I'm going to show you one more thing about Facebook here while we're on here. If you have, if you go to your profile and you have 5 people as your friends, it's probably not going to work very good. Tag that community. Oh, shut up, Jason. So if you only have 5 friends, guess what? Those people are going to start seeing your things. It's going to work very good. All right. Jason won't shut up. So if you only got 2 friends, this isn't going to work. So you need to get up to 5,000 friends. You're allowed to have 5,000 friends. Now, I've got followers, but friend-wise, I'm at 7.2, right? And I got 1.2 following. So these are things that you have to do to be able to get more people to understand you. And so this is what you got to do. You got to go and find these people and help. They will help you grow your business. If you only have 5 friends, this isn't going to work. If it's you, your mom and dad and sister and brother and Bubba, this isn't going to work for you. So it does take some time. Now, where do you find some of these people? Well, you can go in your Facebook groups, local Facebook groups. You can start looking at your circles and seeing their friends, right? Because most friends sit around other friends, and those are ways that you can do that. So these are all ways that you can do this of using it. Again, you can use it for the ChatGPT. You can use Claude. There's lots of things that you can do. There's lots of videos on there of how to use it. And so those are all things that you can do to keep growing your business. I'm also new to Facebook. Never had one till this year. The other thing too is it's not just Facebook then. Is LinkedIn's another one. If you want to do commercial, LinkedIn. Now, here's the deal with LinkedIn. It's not going to happen overnight. LinkedIn is a long-term success. It takes a year, 2 years. When you feel like you have nothing worth saying, then you have nothing worth saying. Um, do what you say and keep your word to the T and show up on time, answer questions, listen, answer the phone, email, text, return calls, follow up estimate. I would say also show up, answer questions, go a little bit extra, and it'll work for you. Just do it. That's where the worth post is get your reps. Because here's the thing, you don't know what's good and what's bad. Oh, that's what I was going to say. Here's the other thing. Don't just post about pressure washing. Post about other things. Some of my posts that get the most engagement is me talking about me trying to lose weight. Why do you think I talk about it? Because I know it gets engagement. And so that's what I hit on. And so find things that you know that will get more hits on. And so that is definitely something that you can do. I get to know my customers and show them my value. Very true. Hire slow, fire fast. We have people work one day for cash and let this see if they can work and see if they like them. Make them climb a ladder and see if they're scared or not. This is, if for Christmas lights, this is definitely something. Get the steepest, biggest, scariest roof. Have them tied off and see if they'll quit themselves real fast if they can't climb that ladder. They'll be like, never mind, this isn't for me. And so that's a good test to see if they can work it or not. What most do in 1 week, I do in 1 to 3 days. Surround yourself with successful people. Very true. Some people on Facebook are jokes and snakes. I can name a few. Me too. I can name a few too. I have had those days thinking screw nothing but problem type A. I can remember the day that we had truck blew a tire, truck blew a motor. We had all kind of issues, right? And it's not always fun. We did about 250 Christmas light jobs this year. What route program do you suggest to use to take down most efficient? If you have Jobber is probably your best one that is there. Road Warrior is another one that does pretty well. You can also do it in Maps. Google Maps is another one. And then you can also put it in AI. It'll get you pretty close too. So all of those will get you pretty close. Exteriors. How many of you get customers that don't want to pay what the job is worth? They want to pay you less. Well, that's why you pre-qualify them and let them stick to your guns. I'm booked 6 to 7 days every week with window cleaning and pressure washing. I only focus on in-person quotes and word of mouth. Starting at 2025, I'll be doing yard signs 100 weekly. Thank you, Jason. Awesome. The good thing about that is then you can raise your prices too. If you're booking out more than 2 weeks, you need to raise your prices. Raise them. It takes roughly 2 to 3 years to brand a business. Yep. What's up, Mr. George Yost? How are you doing, sir, tonight? I'm trying a very targeted mailing campaign, 200 target customers, 3 to 4 times good offer. Yep. That's what you got to do. With mail, it's all about consistently. You got to do it every 4 to 6 weeks, and you got to do it 4 to 6 times to get your best ROI out of it. Again, if you want to check out anything for Christmas lights, well, maybe. I don't know where my Christmas light one went. Oh, Christmas. Oh, it's way little down here. It's a little guy. I have a lot of information on ChristmasLights.io. We do weekly meetings every Monday night. We talk about marketing. We talk about how to mastermind, how to get better at all businesses. Also, if you're into pressure washing, you can go to King of Marketing or King of Pressure Wash is my other one. I don't have any in-person trainings up yet, but I will be getting them up here shortly for training, so that way you guys, if you want to show up for training, to do it. But other than that, I hope you all, I will be back on here Wednesday night and next Sunday before Christmas. But just, this is the time to start thinking about what you want to do next year. Start looking at your numbers. If you haven't talked to your tax accountant and you did Christmas lights and you did pretty well, I would tell you to start doing that, right? And so it is definitely something that you should do. It is definitely something that you need to be talking to your CPA if you have one, and you made a lot of money, or if you needed nothing else, you need to probably put about 15% back for taxes. So that way, when tax time comes, you have money set back for taxes, because when spring comes and you got to pay your taxes, it's definitely not a good feeling to not have the money. So put it in a different bank account so you don't even touch it, don't feel it, don't see it. That way you will be successful, because I've had people, he did $250,000 and next thing he owed $30,000 in taxes. And he's like, I ain't got $30,000 in taxes. And so it is definitely important that you plan your year. And so it is, make sure that you set that money back, make sure that you save that money so you can pay your taxes. Again, I know not everybody has to worry about it, but I just want you all to remember that for sure. Like to jump on a Zoom with you. Usually I have a link for that, but I don't know where it is. Planning next year now is important while it's still fresh on your mind. Right, make a great list of things to change. And this is the point. Not just what we want to do, but see what systems that we know that are failed, right? See what we know right now, what we're not good at. If we wait till next year, it'll be like, I want to do Christmas lights again, and I don't remember what I screwed up. But if you write them down and you start figuring it out now, we can start implementing it for next year. And so that's a great point of what David just said. What's up? Struggling this winter. What's your advice? It is hard. Obviously, I would have told you to do Christmas lights because wintertime comes every year. What I would tell you this year too is there is little jobs that you can get that can help you get through the wintertime. I know people that do Uber. I know it ain't might something that we want to do, but it's a way to bring money in especially if we hadn't planned for it. And those are definitely things that you can do. And so make sure that, you got to do something. So if you need to, you can do Uber, you can do Uber Eats. There's a lot of little jobs you can do and make pretty decent money until the season starts back up. Move to the South, move to Florida. That's the other place that'll do it too, for sure. Pre-order your lights next year and expense it in 2024. For sure you can do that. I know a lot of people are starting to look at that, so that is definitely something that you can do too. That way you get better price on lights. Awesome. So with that, I'm thankful for everybody coming on. If you want to know when I go live for Christmas lights, you can text the word, what is it? Where is it at? Phone. You can text the word light, L-I-T-E, to 855-619-5483. And every Wednesday night, I go live for Christmas lights. Every Sunday night, I go live for pressure washing. Usually I'll do both. And so if you want to know when I do pressure washing one, it's text the word KING, K-I-N-G, to 859, what is it, 696-1101. And that way you know when I go live. 5675309. I must have been doing a video on that one. But other than that, I hope you all have a great week and stay safe. Get ready for takedowns. Go ahead and get your plan for takedowns. And we'll see you on Wednesday. Have a great night.